So I'm going to start by showing you some of the seedlings I've got going on in the conservatory. It's just that time of year when it's getting chocker full of things. So this is just some stuff that I've grown for leaves. I think it's chard or something. I've got some leek seedlings growing. I've got some peas, some over here brassicas, various things. These are some purple sprouting broccoli, some early purple sprouting broccoli. These are some foxglove seedlings that need pricking out. I've got some peas that I'm growing for shoots, and these are my marigold. It's a tray of marigolds, and because I just absolutely love them, I've got 2 trays of cosmos grown. You can see some broad beans in the back here, and normally I wouldn't have the broad beans in here, but it's been so cold that I've been a bit frightened, so I've left them. My orange and lemon plants, my citrus plants in here, all of a sudden they just decided to drop the leaves. I have no idea why, but I've been feeding them. I'm hoping that one in particular will come back. I've also got my little plant station over here. I've got some pepper seeds under the lights, various things propagating. Use these little trays and then pick them out. You can see one's popping up there, a little stray one. And I've also got, I kind of just keep the spare ones just in case something fails and I can pop them in. I've got some potatoes chipping on the windowsill. These ones are doing probably better than the others, and they're home saved from last year, so I'm hoping just to plant them up and see what happens. And I've also got some pepper and some aubergines grown here. Like everybody says, write labels, write labels, write labels, and I do write labels, and then I move things around and I have no idea what they are until the leaves come in. So some of these are properly labelled, and some of them it's a bit of a guess what they're going to be. So coming outside, I've got everything really tightly covered up because it's been very, very cold and frosty. So I might just let that plant have a little bit of air. And I've got these ones covered up, and we'll cover them up again later tonight. But if I hadn't, I probably would have lost them. So just bits of plastic really to cover them up. And I've also got some garlic here. This I'm going to break apart and use it in my hanging baskets this year. This one seems to be eaten by the slugs, but we'll see, it might come away again. And here's my onions that I've been overwintering. Seeds way back in October, I think, these tiny little things, and they seem to be, they're growing. And these are just things from the kitchen that I started to sprout, so I thought I'll give them a plant, because sometimes you get some nice flowers out of them. Some leftover brassicas, just use them for a little bit of leaves. And I've got some coming out here. And my little daffodils, they're coming out. They're just so pretty, but they're just starting to flower now, you can see. And I've got some sort of beautiful red tulipy flower here. Now I have planted some radishes in here, but none of them seem to be sprouting. That was probably a couple of weeks ago now, so I might need some fresh seed. I might have a little look at that later. This is the blueberry bush, and I've just fed that, so hopefully we'll get some nice flowers on that. Carrots, and I'm hoping that will come good in May. And just various brassicas. Not a lot has grown since the last time I showed you around the garden. Slowly. It's not dead, which is always a bonus. Here's my kale, which is growing nicely. It's like not taken off, but it's growing. This time of year. Got some spinach in these buckets. These ones are looking very sad, and I don't know if they'll make it, but we'll see. We shall see. Spinning around there. I'm not going to take the tops off these, but I know things are surviving under there. And because it was so cold and I was worried about my strawberries, I put these over the top. These just because that was the only thing I had left. So hopefully that they'll have got a bit of protection from them. And I've got my garlic, which is surviving fine. I'm also probably not going to open the greenhouse because it's quite windy today, but you can see there that I've got my onions grown, and the ones up there, they're growing really well, and I will need to put them out at some point in the next couple of weeks because they're just going to be too big for those little pots. And you can see everything is covered. I have got some little lettuce seedlings in the greenhouse at the back there, and something's been nibbling on them, so I'm going to have to check on those later. But everything's just slowly ticking away. And I've got some, what have I got under there? I've got some celery, and it's amazing how it's lasted from last year and it's still producing and it hasn't died yet from the cold and the frost. You can see here on the back patch, I've got some rather tired looking leaves, and I think it's just the frosts. They've been frosted and it's been so cold that hopefully they might pick up a little bit more. I've got some purple sprouting broccoli here that's hopefully hidden enough from the pigeons to have saved it, and we'll get some nice sprouts out of that. I've got some, I'll go around the greenhouse, I've got some tulips that are hopefully coming in there, and we've got my red onions here that are growing. Yeah, they're doing all right. They're just buckets ready to be planted. We've also got some onions in here that seem to be surviving, and I'm probably going to aim for a little bit more out of them. I've also got some spinach plants that I'm hoping will take off and not get eaten by something. And here I plan to put the broad beans, and I might actually do that this week. I'm just going to check the weather to make sure it's not too cold for them, because I haven't got a lot of fleece left because it's all been used in the greenhouse. So if I just sneak round, I've got some peas here that were dying in the greenhouse and they need planting up into some sort of pots as well. And my strawberries, I think they're quite protected here, so I'm hoping that at this point here along the bottom of the wall they'll survive and the cold won't affect them too much. I've got all my bulbs are coming up in my little bulb planter box here, and these are just buckets waiting to be planted up. I've got the pond seems to be sprouting back to life as well. I've got some beautiful little flowers here. And my clematis is also springing back to life. And hopefully, the aim is that this will just climb all the way up and over this arch. So this side, I've got some little peas that I planted out a couple of weeks ago, and they're surviving. So I'm quite surprised because it was so cold, but they are surviving, and hopefully they'll climb up this side. So last year the peas were beautiful up here, and the idea is that the clematis goes up the other side. So I've got some chives that I planted last year, broken up from another plant. That's doing all right. Purple sage is surviving. I've got these are the bluebells. A neighbour kind of gave us these dead looking bulbs quite a few years ago, and I just more or less just chucked them and just left them, and every year we've had the most beautiful bluebells from them. It just shows you, just sometimes give things a chance. This was just a dead plant in a garden centre, and I planted it, and it just really brightens this really dark area up. And we always get some St. John's worts from here, but not a lot. You know, if it grows, it grows, but it's quite a tricky corner. I've saved some of the best sticks I've got because I'm going to use those for pea sticks. Oh, there's Lucy wanting to be on camera. We've got some compost and various things here ready to go. Lucy, that's enough. Lucy, I see Lucy over there. She barks at anybody who walks past the back fence. Here she is, look. Lucy, say hello. Hello, Lucy. Hello. Hello. So here is another really tricky area to grow anything in because it's quite dark, but the rhubarb quite likes it. I've also got some foxgloves in there, and then we'll have this beautiful fern that comes up every year, which works well. We're removing some leaves. Got some little daffodil bulbs there. And every year I plant some kind of bulbs. See, there's some more rhubarb here, and it's amazing how this rhubarb keeps coming back. And we've got some catnip there, which was pretty beautiful last year. This is a very failed apple tree. I don't know if it's going to grow anything. I think it's probably just dead now, but I've left it in just in case. Got various bulbs, and these are some foxgloves that I planted last year, and hopefully I'll get some lovely white spires from them. These are cornflowers. This is a very pretty plant in spring, white flowers. I've got some tree cabbage, some Totendale, kale, surviving, and I've got various things that hopefully will pop up over here. The beds have had a really good mulch of leaves, so as well I'm hoping that that'll all rot down and help the plants. And I've got some lily type plants that come up every year here. I've got this little hiding my little Chinese area. I'll get that out and get some sunlight on it, because it's a little solar thing. You can see all the beds really heavily mulched with leaves, and each of our leaves got mulched. Various things grown here. A lot of these were celery, and you can see they're just starting to rot now because of the cold. So it does need taken out. A lot of this stuff needs taken out, but the onions are going here, hopefully. Over here, Jerusalem artichokes, and look at this bush, laurel leaf thing that were planted last year. No, that were cut right down. There was nothing left of this last year, and it just up it pops. It's amazing how you cut things and they grow again. And I've got some various little sweet williams and things, just add a little bit of interest. So hopefully what I normally do is put some really tall flowers here during the summer, just to act as a bit of a screen. I was thinking about maybe extending the Jerusalem artichokes across all of this area, and then the log pile that we are very slowly getting rid of in the brown bin. And this, I think I've told you before, we take off the bushes at the front, and I do try to take some of the better sticks out to use as canes. And I've got some just pots waiting, really. I'll probably just tip this out and use it for something else. And I've got I've tried to hide my onions around the back, just because they were getting pretty beaten up over here. But these are the chives, and these come up with some beautiful purple flowers every year. Might need a little bit of extra compost. I've also got a hydrangea here that is sprouting nicely, but it's mixed in with some mint leaves, which I probably need to fix. And I do have a bit of a herb garden that goes on along here. I've got some sorrel here, and some fennel here, and various things tend to grow, but I need to think about what I want to put there. Probably some basil or something I'll plant in. And I've got some oregano that takes over this area, and this is a lovely bay leaf tree, and this has been cut down a few times when it gets a bit wild, but yeah, it supplies all my bay leaves forever. It's great. And that is the garden in March, on a surprisingly quite a nice March day, early March. Hopefully we'll see as the light levels start to increase, we'll see kind of a big growth spurt in the garden. But what I would probably say is that, like, now is probably one of the biggest times for planting and getting on with things and getting ready for all that growth. And a little look in the pond there. I haven't got any frog spawn yet, but normally we do have some frog spawn pretty soon, I'm expecting. This, I think it's a Saracen or something like that, is still surviving well. Nice. We've got some little bulbs from last year popping up, which is nice to see. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little March tour of the garden. Not a whole lot to see, but enough to kind of give us hope that things are going to start spurting again. I'll see you next time, either the end of March or beginning of April.